Hi guys, I'm excited for this video. This video is gonna be about what's on my bookshelf. I know a lot of you have been seeing my bookshelf in the background of my videos, and I've gotten asked like what are all those books, so I want to share them with you guys because they're all pretty special to me. Not all of them, I know it's a lot of books. I've actually been buying these since 2012, in the beginning of my awakening, where I fell like headfirst down the rabbit hole, and you just go on this like knowledge quest and you buy books or, read or watch movies about just every single thing. So mostly like on the bottom bookshelf, those don't really have to do with spiritual awakening. There's stuff I thought I was interested in the beginning of my awakening. So I am just going to cover the books that I have read. There are also a lot of new books I just bought that I haven't read yet, and therefore I cannot recommend them because I don't know if, I don't know firsthand what they're like. But I'm going to recommend the ones that have had a really like significant impact on my awakening, and those would be my favorite ones. I'm going to save those for at the end of the video. But most of my favorite ones are on the top bookshelf. So I'm going to kind of give you guys like a little tour first, and then I'm going to take apart my bookshelf and take out all my books and show you guys. And I apologize in advance when I do take them out and put them up. You're not going to be able to see the title. It's going to be backwards. So I will say the name of the book, the author, and then also I'm going to provide a link to my Amazon store down below that you can click on and buy these exact books that I have on my Amazon storefront. So the link will be below if you guys want to check that out. So all the books on the top shelf are like sacred, channeled. Most of them are channeled information. I love anything cosmic, but that might not be like something you're into. I'll also recommend regular books for awakening, but I have these with my very special bookends that are from Anthropology, and they're real selenite, and so I love them. I'm obsessed with them. So I'm going to save my favorite books for last. I don't remember if I already said that, but I'm going to start with, oh my god, I don't even know where to start, you guys. There's literally so many books, and I'm going to be pulling them all out. Okay, I know the first two I'm going to start with is going to be for light workers and just any woman going through an awakening. And maybe you're a guy and you want to read this too, but they're more aimed towards women. But one of them is Rise, Sister Rise, and Light is the New Black. And I bought these ones about 3 years ago during a like really pivotal point in my awakening, and they have really helped me. And I actually just picked up this one to reread, and I got so much more out of it. I'm like a completely different person than I was 3 years ago. So that's the beauty of books, is you can read them once, get what you need out of it, and you read them again and you get like a whole lot more out of it too. So these are by Rebecca Campbell, and they are in my Amazon shop. You can get them on Amazon, and I think they sell them a lot of places. But yes, you guys will love these books about light workers. I am definitely not taking time to tell what all these books are about, because then I'd end up with a 5-hour video. So I'll just tell you what they're for. Light workers, divine feminine. Okay. And then also divine feminine, other divine feminine books that I really recommend if you guys want to learn more. I know that term goes around a lot in the spiritual community, and you might not know what it means exactly. And so this is one of the first books I read, also a few years ago, by Llewellyn Vaughan Lee, and it's called The Return of the Feminine and World Soul. This book is amazing. It explains anything and everything you've ever wanted to know about the divine feminine, also the divine masculine, which I really like in this book. It's so beautiful. It's beautiful and poetic, and you guys would love it. And then also another book about the Divine Feminine is by Trisha McCannon, and it's called The Return of the Divine Sophia. So this is amazing too. It's not one of my favorites, but it's good and I like it, and if it calls to you, you will love it. So, okay, I think that's all I have for Divine Feminine. Healing. This is a very important book for healing, and I know we're all on that healing journey, so this will help. This is by the woman who founded Hay House Publications, so Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. It also has in the back, from the book You Can Heal Your Body, a list of metaphysical reasons for any illness. It doesn't apply to 100% of people, but about 90%, it's pretty accurate. And I'm just going to give you guys an example because I heard about this book in my Reiki attunement, and my teachers were telling me they actually use this during their sessions. So let me find where the little thing is. Okay, so it will say, for example, your issue, like whatever issue you have, if you have like back pain, or let me go to back pain, or neck problems. Okay, I'll just say neck problems. Maybe you have neck problems. It says the metaphysical reason for that is refusing to see other sides of a question, stubbornness, inflexibility. That's just an example. And then what I really, really love about this book is it also gives you an affirmation to say for whatever your problem is. So if you have a runny nose, it has almost every illness and problem that you could have in here. It gives the metaphysical, energetic reason why we have this issue, and then an affirmation to help you overcome that. So this is such a beautiful book. Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. All of these books will be in my Amazon store if you guys want to purchase them from there. So I know what I'm going to do next. My astrology books. Those are my favorite. So just bear with me while I pick them out. I have to go through my whole bookshelf and pick out the right ones in the right categories. Okay. I think that's all of them. Okay, so the first one is Flowing with Universal Laws by Margot Kurtikar. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. This one's actually not on my Amazon storefront. I forgot to add it, so I will actually go add it after this video for anyone interested. It talks about all the universal laws, the cosmic laws, every law of the universe that you want to know. It's in there from A to Z, and it's amazing. These ones are so special to me. These two I'm about to show you. I bought them from the UK in 2012. They actually didn't have them on Amazon at the time. They are on Amazon now, and they're amazing. When I first heard about the ages in 2012, how there were rumors, because of the end of the Mayan calendar, there were rumors that it was the end of the world. But I found out from doing some digging and research online that it was not the end of the world. It was actually signaling the end of an age, which was the age of Pisces in astrology terms. There's also many names for this age. I just like to use that term. But it talks about how, both of these books talk about how every time we transition into a new age, our consciousness changes. And that was like a huge trigger for my awakening, is hearing about how consciousness changes throughout the ages. So if you're interested in that, this book is called Sky and Psyche: The Relationship Between Cosmos and Consciousness. And this is also in the Amazon store. I don't think I have to say that after every single book. Just know that all of these are on the storefront. Okay, and then this one is the best book ever. It's called The Heavens Declare. Also, if you want to know about the age of Aquarius, everything you want to know about that age in here, it's by Alice O'Howell, and it's called The Astrological Ages and the Evolution of Consciousness. So it explains everything about the age of Aquarius. Also, this book is called The Great Ages and Other Astrological Cycles. I found this while I was doing my soul research, is what I like to call it, when I bought like literally hundreds of books in 2012 and just went on this whole, oh look, I just opened it and there's like Age of Aquarius notes in here. Oh, how funny. I actually was just thinking I should read something out of here about the Age of Aquarius so you guys can kind of see. I don't know if it will take too long, but it's basically, it's gonna take too long to read. It's basically turning into an age of brotherhood and unity, and not focusing on our separateness, focusing on our unity. We are moving from separation consciousness into unity consciousness, but in astrological terms, it's just transitioning into an age. Certain signs represent different qualities. Aquarius represents unity, brotherhood, 1111. And so there's just different ways to look at it. And if you're into astrology, I really highly recommend these books. Also, if you want to know about the history of astrology, there's no name for this one, but it's called The History of Astrology by Zolar, and it's so informative and actually talks about how in the church this information was suppressed and they weren't really allowed to like put astrology and stuff like that into the Bible, even though you still can find stuff about it, because they wanted it to be perceived as witchcraft and bad, and they kind of wanted to get people away from that. But it's actually the complete opposite. We are very tied to astrology. We are children of the cosmos. We all come from the stars, and everything in existence comes from the same source. And we are all made up of the same elements. So nature is us. We are nature. Astrology is part of us. And this talks about how it has been suppressed in the West, and the churches have suppressed astrology and all that ancient wisdom and knowledge that comes from astrology. So this book's really beautiful. And also, I have to recommend one of my favorite books now because it has to do with this book that I'm going to show you guys in 1 second. Okay, I feel like a librarian, like picking them out. Okay, so this book, love it. One of my favorites. It's called The Holy Science by Sirius, and he was actually Paramahansa Yogananda was his disciple. He was Paramahansa Yogananda's guru. And this brings me to this book that I recommend, The Autobiography of a Yogi. And this actually helped really expand my mind in the beginning of my awakening, because it talks about he knew like great yogi masters in India who could levitate, who could live without food, water, people who could shift their bodies into different places, like just from using their mind. All true things that actually are not fake, made up abilities. And this was before I believed in everything that I believe in now, and so it really helped stretch my mind. I read this before I started reading books that had me believing in aliens, because I didn't believe in aliens before my awakening. How funny, right? So this is a beautiful book about his journey and his life, and I feel a really, really like close connection with him. And the first time I saw this book and I saw his picture, I started crying. So I love this book. He's no longer with us in this physical realm, so it's so special. You guys should read this. And this book, I'm going to tell you what it's about, is about the Yuga Cycle. And this is when I first heard about the Yuga Cycle. It was a huge part of my awakening to find out about the Yuga Cycle, because it also talked about how consciousness changes throughout the ages. But instead of using astrological terms, he actually has, oh no, I can't find it. I had a whole chart printed out. 1 second. I can't find it. I'm sorry, guys. It'll be in this book, though, so I could show you. But it's called the Yuga Cycle, and instead of using terms like Age of Aquarius, Age of Pisces, etc., it talks about 4 different Yuga cycles. So this is the chart, and it basically talks about, another name for the cycle is the precession of the equinox, and it talks about how every 26,000 years we complete a major astrological cycle. Half of the cycle, I have to be very brief with this, I tried this video last week, I got so carried away talking about the Yuga cycle, it turned into a video about the Yuga cycle, so I'm gonna just briefly say it here. Every 13,000 years, the divine masculine principle is leading, and our consciousness is falling asleep when that happens. So it's really hard to explain, and I'm not going to do it justice, so I encourage you to do your own research on this. And I have 20% battery, so I better really hurry up. And then the other half of the 26,000 year cycle, it's approximately 26,000 years, is the other 13,000 year half, where the divine feminine principle and energy leads. And so when we get to that crucial turning point where we are right now, and we leave the divine masculine energy and we start letting the divine feminine lead, and to become balanced with all the imbalanced energy that we have from having kind of the masculine energy leading for the last 13,000 years, we are at the point where we're slowly, the divine feminine energy is rising to balance out all that masculine energy that's been running the world. So it's really beautiful, and it talks about how our consciousness changes also when we start to let the divine feminine principle lead. That's when we wake up from our spiritual slumber, and that's why everyone's having these awakenings. We're going through this really crucial point in history where we are moving from one age to another. Consciousness is expanding. The divine feminine is rising. It's like we're entering into the golden age, and it's really beautiful, and it's hard to talk about, but I encourage you guys to look up the Yuga cycle and the precession of the equinox, because that explains it in different terms also. And then this book also talks about it too, astrological world cycles. This book is tied to Paramahansa Yogananda, and this book is based off of the holy science, and it's called the Yugas, and you can also find this in the Amazon store. One of my favorite books in the whole entire world. It just explains the Yugas. And damn, I think my phone's gonna die, and I'm gonna have to piece this video together in 2 parts. I have to read something out of this book for you guys so you can understand. Here's another chart of the Yuga cycle. It's my favorite thing in the whole entire world. Okay. An understanding of the Yuga cycles gives us unparalleled insight into the past, present, and future development of mankind. Surya Yukteswar, a modern exponent of the Yugas, and on whose insights this book is based, explains that mankind goes through clearly discernible ages, or Yugas. Each Yuga changes the consciousness of mankind. As mankind's consciousness changes, so do civilization and human development. An understanding of the cycle of the Yugas reveals that, like 2 sides of the same coin, the development of mankind is inextricably bound together with the development of every man's consciousness. The Yugas describe a cycle of human development that not only predicts highly advanced ages in the future, but indicates that they have occurred in the past as well, which explains why Egypt had a higher consciousness than we do now, and historians and Egyptologists cannot find out why and how they built these pyramids. And it was actually because they could move stones with their mind. They had a higher consciousness, and they had the abilities that Paramahansa Yogananda talks about that many yogi masters had in India. So that's super interesting. It's like history, science. It's just now catching up with the ancient wisdom, and the ancient wisdom's coming back to light because we're coming full circle around again. In the Yuga Cycle, and in this age, we're having a golden age right now, but there have been many, many, many golden ages, and many times like this in history, like when Atlantis had their golden age and when Egypt had their golden age. And so this explains everything. It's amazing, and I highly recommend it. I don't know how much time I'm gonna have left. I'm gonna just have to jump right into my like super cosmic books. Real quick, also about consciousness. This is a huge, amazing book that I found in the beginning of my awakening by Itzhak Bentov, A Brief Tour of Higher Consciousness. So beautiful, you guys. I don't have time to explain every single book, but I'm just gonna real quick. Waking Up in 5D. If you want to know more about the transition from the third dimension into the fifth dimension, this book will tell you everything you need to know. It's by Maureen Saint Germain, and you can find it in my Amazon shop because I know the picture looks backwards right now, and I apologize for that. Also, two more extremely important books in my journey are by Drunvalo Melchizedek, I think that's how you pronounce it, The Ancient Flower of Life, or The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 1. I have not gotten Volume 2 yet. Serpent of Light explains all you want to know about how I was just talking about how every 13,000 years, approximately, the divine feminine is leading, and every other 13,000 years, the other half of the cycle, the divine masculine is leading. It also talks about the kundalini of Earth. That's why it's called the Serpent of Light, the movement of the Earth's kundalini and the rise of the female light. How exciting is that, right? So you guys will love these books. You will love all of them. They are all so amazing. Now let's get to my favorite channeled. Also another Drunvalo Melchizedek book, Living in the Heart. It's beautiful and gives really good meditations. So if you are feeling connected to Lemuria, just have to recommend all these books. Where is my other Lemurian book? I don't even know where I put it. Oh, here it is. Okay. The Women of Lemuria by Monica Morani and Dr. Amber Wolf. I just started reading this, but so far it's amazing, and it's channeled information, so I love channeled information. Also channeled information from the Lemurians that live in Tellus, called Tellus Volume 1, Volume 2. I just ordered Volume 3. It's on its way. My favorite books in the whole entire world, basically, besides Dolores Canon books and Tom Kenyon books. I have a lot of favorites, but oh my god, it explains so much about the Lemurians, what happened to the Lemurians, that the Lemurians are in the fifth dimensional city of Tellus, which is in Mount Shasta, and those are amazing. Sorry, I'm talking really fast. I know my phone's gonna die. The Lemurian Way and Lost Lands by Lucy Cavendish. I know I'm moving fast, but please check out the link below of my Amazon store. You'll find all these books there, and you can purchase them directly from Amazon. This is the Lemurian Way. So if you're feeling connected to Lemuria, if you are feeling connected to Atlantis, these two books are amazing. The Children of the Law of One and the Lost Teachings of Atlantis. Now this is like unlike any other book you've ever read. It doesn't even have an author, but it's by John Peniel. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it doesn't say it on the book, I don't think. Amazing, and talks about the Law of One, not to be confused with the raw material Law of One, because this is a completely different Law of One. It's not tied to Atlantis, and it's more kind of like galactic channeled information. So I also recommend this. This book I just got, and I haven't finished it, but so far, one of the most amazing channeled books I've ever read about Atlantis. It talks about such beautiful things, like how when like horses die in Atlantis that they turn into unicorns, and it's just so magical. And you know, if you believe in that stuff, that's your book. If you don't, it's okay. You can get other books. My favorite that I recommend in every single video, by Tom Kenyon. He's my favorite author besides Dolores Canon. The Great Human Potential, Walking in One's Own Light. But also Wendy Kennedy channels the Pleiadians in this book, and Tom Kenyon channels the Hathors. This book tells you everything in the whole entire world about ascension, about awakening, about everything, and it's so beautiful. And if you obviously feel connected to the Pleiadians, that's your book. Also, if you feel connected to Sirius, I just got this and I've browsed through it just enough to say it's amazing and you guys should get it, but I still have to read it. I've only browsed through it. I will get to it after I'm done reading this one, which I'm currently reading, which is called Soul Seeds by the beautiful Vanessa Lemort Hartshorn. I hope I pronounced that right, but she is amazing, and she basically wrote the only book you can find out there on light language. So this book, Dolores Canon, The 3 Waves of Volunteers, this is the most amazing book in the world. You guys have to get it if you're feeling like you're a starseed, a light worker, like you're one of the souls that came here to help with this shift in consciousness and this shift into a new age. Dolores Canon, The 3 Waves of Volunteers, explains everything, what the earth is going through. She talks a lot about the new earth, and it's the most beautiful book in the world. I'd say it's my second favorite book in the whole world. This book is one of my favorites too. Bringers of the Dawn, Channeled Information from the Pleiadians by Barbara Marciniak. And this book explains everything about multidimensionality, how everything's happening simultaneously. There is no past, present, future. It's all happening simultaneously. It explains that we use time in the third dimension to help understand with our human minds, and it's amazing. Another channeler who channels the Pleiadians besides Wendy Kennedy, and she is amazing. So this book is amazing. And another channeled book that I just got, and I'm halfway done with it. I read like 3 books at the same time, and trying to keep up with all the books I buy so fast. But this is Channeled Information by Kuan Yin, which is beautiful. It's called The Oracle of Compassion, Living the Word of Kuan Yin by Hope Bradford. So yes, all those books are my favorite. Let's see what else. Another Dolores Canon book, Between Life and Death. It has nothing to do with awakening or ascension, but if you're curious about the other realm where you go when you die, this book says the most beautiful things. Or even if you've ever lost someone, which I know a lot of people obviously have lost someone very close to them, this really, really helps with coping with the death of a loved one. So Dolores Canon, Between Death and Life. Shut my door, please, honey. I'll be right there, okay? Okay, and so my phone's about to die. I don't want to recommend books I haven't read yet, but I've briefly flipped through this. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but the Tablets of Light, and this is Channeled Information, I don't know how to pronounce it, by Thoth by Danielle Hoffman. Yeah, a lot of these names and words, they're hard to pronounce, and I'm not gonna pretend like I know how to pronounce everything, so sorry if I pronounced anything wrong. Okay, oh my god, I have not even had a chance to browse through it, but I just know it'll be amazing. I just got it a few days ago because it's by Rudolf Steiner, and he's one of the most amazing authors. It's called Cosmic Memory, The Story of Atlantis, Lemuria, and the Division of the Sexes. It sounds so interesting. So when I'm done reading my Soul Seeds book and my Lemuria book, the Women of Lemuria one, which I'm going to be reading next, this is going to be the 3rd one I read, and that's about it. I can't really think of, and this one is so good if you like Atlantis and feel, I think we've all lived past lives on Atlantis, everyone awakening right now, so it's called Atlantis and the New Consciousness by Stuart Wilson and Joanna Prentice. I have finished this one, and this one is also channeled information, and it's so good. So they talk a lot about like a lot of weird stuff that used to happen in Atlantis. I don't want to say all my videos, but you guys will see if you buy the book. It's pretty interesting stuff. Oh my god, and then this is one of my favorites, the Hermetica. There's so many different versions of this one, but this is by Timothy Freck and Peter Gandy. I don't know, I haven't read any other versions, but I like this version. So this is also on my Amazon store. And, oh yeah, this one, The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. Another book just for, you know, someone who wants to get in touch with spirituality and kind of like just all new to this stuff. This is your book. This is another good book if you're interested in Egypt. Symbol and the Symbolic, Ancient Egypt, Science and the Evolution of Consciousness by R.A. Schwaller de Lubix. I don't know if I pronounced that right either, but that book is amazing. These I have not read. Oh, I actually read this one. This is really good, good book. I'm trying to talk so fast, so please excuse me. This is a really good book if you're into like science. Like if you want everything proved to you in scientific terms. This guy was nominated for like 3 Nobel Prizes, Irvin Laszlo, and it's called The Intelligence of the Cosmos, and they basically in this book prove scientifically that we're all connected to everyone and everything in existence, even in the cosmos, because we're all one big hologram. And, ooh, I have 10% left, so I have a little bit more time. Excuse me. It talks about how there is, like, I don't know if I want to use the term God, but it basically explains how there's one intelligence that moves everything in existence, and whether you want to call that source or God, it's basically proven in scientific terms in this book. And so if that's your thing is science and you want like proof, you know, of like what's going on, then this is your book. And now I have emptied out the whole top bookshelf. A lot of these other books are just things I bought in 2012 that kind of have nothing to do with Awakening. Another Dolores Canon book that I love, Hidden Sacred Knowledge by Dolores Canon. And I can't recommend any more because they're either not about ascension or I have not read them. Oh, and of course, obviously, have to recommend my Soul Sisters books, Christine Olivia, Child of Magic, and April Fender, Chakra Balance. And I hope I pronounced your name right, and I'm so sorry if I did not. I'm horrible at pronouncing, but my Soul Sisters wrote these books. They are amazing. If you want to get in touch with your inner child, this is the book for you. If you want to learn about chakras and so much more, this is the book for you also. And they honestly are amazing, and they're amazing people. So go support them, buy their book. And let's just see. Okay. Oh, I have not read this yet, but I'm just going to show you guys in case you're interested in it. It's by Rudolf Steiner too, and it's called Initiation, Eternity, and the Passing Moment. It looked really good, so I can't wait to dive into it. And then, of course, Unveiled Mysteries. Have not read it yet, but it's sacred to me because Paul recommended it to me. And it has to do with like Lemuria and Tellus and Mount Shasta and all that. So I cannot wait to read that one. I have freaking like 20 books that are on my list of things to read, and it's hard to like read so many books. And I just also want to add before my phone dies, a lot of people are like, I don't need to read because I can go within and get all the information in there. And to be honest, personally for me, I am not there yet in my in my awakening, I can't just go tap into the Akashic records and get all the information I need. I'm not there yet. And so books are a huge part of my awakening, and I could never have enough books, and I don't think I'll ever be one of the people to say I know it all and I don't need books. So if you are there and you can tap into the Akashic records and you can get that information, obviously that's probably the better way to go. But if you can't, and you know, you're like me and you just like reading, and that's kind of my thing. My thing is kind of reading. I feel like a lot of these books found me for a reason. All the channeled ones are, I feel like they found me from my star family, so they're special to me. And when I do get to that point where I could just meditate and tap right into the source of knowledge, you know, I will do that. But until then, these books are sacred to me, and I love them, and I'm so happy to share them with you guys. I hope you found some books that, you know, you love, or maybe all of them, and you have to slowly buy them, and you might be like me and buy more books than you can keep up with. But you know, I'll never have a dull moment. Anytime I'm bored, I could just read. And yeah, so trying to see if there's just any more I forgot real quick while I have you guys here. Just a lot of books that I want to read that I haven't read yet, so that's it. And yep, that's it. I'm so excited. And the next book that I will recommend is going to be my own book, because I'm actually channeling and have been working on a book for years that I'm going to be putting out hopefully by the end of this year, if not next year. And I hope you guys all would be interested in that, so stay tuned with that. It's gonna be a while till it's out, but maybe till the end of the year or something. But thank you for watching, you guys, and thank you for taking a tour of my bookshelf. This is my, oh, I kind of moved everything around, but Indigo Unveiled drew these. They're amazing. And also I have my sacred Merkaba or Merkaba earrings, another word I can't pronounce, that she made, and they're so special to me. Also my Lemurian crystals. These are this is kind of like my altar. I use it as my altar. So my Lemurian crystals, my aura photo, and Ram Dass's book Be Here Now, which is also amazing, but I have not finished it. So yeah, that is what's on my bookshelf. And then obviously all these, they're kind of just like books about sociology, psychology, and law, because I thought I was interested in all that stuff before my awakening, so there's no need to